Welcome to the Glenngary Tramway update.
Those of you who have arrived at this video via the RM Web blog or alternatively via the Glenngary Tramway website may be aware of the history of the trams, but for those who haven't, I will give you a brief history of how the trams came to be built. Back in 1999, and living in a small terraced house in the seaside resort of Scarborough, at that time we had 3 small children, and with no spare bedroom or room of any sort that we could build a model railway in, and having taken a look at the loft and ruling that out as being totally unsuitable, attention turned to what we could possibly do outside. It quickly became obvious that the only thing that we had room for would be a cliff lift. Unfortunately, the town boasted 3 operational ones at that time, so plenty of material to draw inspiration from. The first job was to install a 2-metre long baseboard set to an angle of 24 degrees. This was quickly followed by a top station, which would house the winding motor and some of the electrics, and then followed by the bottom station, which would be relatively empty. With the 24-degree gradient of the incline known, then work could start on the car bodies and frames. 3 cars and frames were actually built. This was to allow for maintenance and repairs to be undertaken, yet still allow the system to run. A suitable motor to drive the trams was salvaged from a very hard-worked electric drill, a battery type which conveniently would run at 12 volts. So this was pressed into service via a couple of intermediate jockey rails, and this gave a suitable speed reduction to have the trams running quite realistically up and down. How the trams actually engage with the top station and that we will explain at a later date in a subsequent update. Control for the trams was via a run-on-demand push button, where once pressed, the trams would run to the opposite end of the incline and then sit and wait for the next command to run. This simplicity of operation kept the electrical circuitry to an absolute minimum, considering its outside location. When the building and testing had been completed, the trams then spent the next 4 years running in this configuration. The only things of note to mention was the fact that the 2 of the tram cars received a new blue livery. One problem that continually affected the tramway was the forces of nature, i.e. in winter, the easterly gales that are prevalent on the east coast used to really play havoc with A, the paintwork, and B, the physical being of the trams, in so much so that on many occasions the trams were actually blown off the incline to fall to the ground. Following its 4th winter season outside, the motor finally failed, and unable to find a replacement immediately, the trams then stood idle for the best part of a year. Eventually, with a house move pending and further deterioration to the general system because of the weather and lack of maintenance, the trams were dismantled and faced a somewhat uncertain future. Right, we'll continue that in a future episode, but don't worry, I can reveal it has a happy ending. We're now into the 2nd week of September 2015, and during the summer we've been doing a programme of events at the North Yorkshire Moors Railway. In about 2 weeks' time we'll see our final visit there of the year for their Autumn Steam Gala. We usually take about 4 layouts, sometimes 5 depending on the size of them, and put on a show in the New Education Centre there on platform 2. this year should be we should be fairly busy because the steam ones are always popular, and most of the layouts reflect a steam flavour. Obviously the trams don't, but we're always kept busy with the younger visitors, and we've done, I think we've done every one over the past few years, barring one which we had a family event on, so we had to miss that one, but never mind. Up and coming news, that'll just leave us one event to do. That'll be Barnsley. That's a 2-day show in October, November, around that mark, and then that'll be it for this year. It seems to have gone rather quickly, but immediate sites are aimed on the Pickering event, and we'll be taking the cameras, and we'll have some layouts to show you, and some real steam engines probably. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you again on the next one.